All right, welcome back to another episode of Contract to Keys. This is Chronicles of Top Producing Agents, where we show real estate's best and how they have turned signed contracts into smooth closings, and they build a thriving business along the way. I'm your host, Brittney Kosev, broker of BK Real Estate, entrepreneur, and just a believer in the power of systems and service, storytelling. And each week we crack open the habits, the hacks, sometimes the horror stories and hard-won lessons from agents who don't just survive in this business, but they truly turn it into a career. If you're ready to elevate yourself and close like a closer, you're in the right place. So welcome, welcome. And today we have Matt Hopkins at BK Powerhouse, who is actively closing deals, locking up contracts, and he still finds time to mentor newer agents and run our SkillBridge program. Matt, thanks for jumping on the mic.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
I'm excited to have our conversation today. Matt and I talk most days of the week. We'll shoot each other a text or more. And so I feel like I know Matt really well. But for the people that don't know Matt, why don't you give us just a quick 60-second version of how you got into real estate, where you were before, and just a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you know, Britt, and everyone that we work with, I did spend 20 years in the military and I retired last May. I wasn't sure what I was going to do after that, and I had a couple of different options. I thought maybe I would go work for another government job, or maybe I would go work for a bank or something, a 9 to 5. But that didn't really fit who I was. And I wanted to be free. I wanted to have some flexibility. I wanted to do whatever I want to do. I wanted to be my own boss,
Yep.
essentially. I was controlled by the government, so to speak, for 20 years. I didn't want to be controlled anymore. I didn't want to have to follow those lines. So that's really what prompted me to get into real estate, is that flexibility and the freedom to be my own boss and own my own business.
That's awesome. And so real estate, I say this all the time, real estate is the vessel, right? It can be the vessel for you to live the life you want to live. And you
Absolutely.
said it. You said, I want to be my own boss. I don't want to be a cog in someone else's machine. I want to be the machine. And that's what got you into real estate. But also you wanted to get into investing and explore those options too, right?
Yes, that was always a part of where my mindset was. How am I going to use real estate to create my legacy and to create that generational wealth that you and I had talked about the first day that we met? So the investing part, building my portfolio, those were things that were a dream to me. And since joining BK, it's become more of a reality.
That's awesome. So when you think about the clients you have worked with, that you are working with, what do you think is what you would say is your niche? What do you think is your specialty?
Well, my specialty, I think why clients are drawn to me or why they retain me, I think it's just my vibe. I think when they
Yeah.
first meet me, it's how I resonate with people from my very first encounter. I believe that they can see the good in me and that they know that I'm going to be honest and that they can trust me. I'm going to be transparent and I'm going to be with them through the entire process. And I think they feel that. And during that, we're building a relationship. It's never a transaction. And I told someone this the other day. I feel like every time that I meet someone new and we get involved in real estate, we become a family. So I'm being invited to birthday parties and quinceaneras and things like that. So it's more than just that transaction, and that happens right from the get-go. We vibe.
I love that. And that can show up whether you're working with a first-time home buyer or investors or developers like you're doing right now. In fact, my next question was going to be about a recent win, but I think that you should tell us a little bit about the 3D home project you're working. I think that's a huge win and something that our listeners
Yes.
might be curious about.
Yes, I appreciate that. It is a huge win. I got approached a few months ago by a development company called Sapphire 3D Builds, and their concept is to build 3D homes. And we have a model that we follow where it's percent less expensive, 70% faster, and 30% more efficient. So following that model, we are starting to develop a subdivision here in San Antonio. I know that 3D homes have been built all across the country, but no one has built any in San Antonio yet. So S3D is going to be the tip of the spear. We are going to build our first single home. It's going to be 500 square foot, but we're going to build it and donate it to the city of San Antonio, and it's going to be given to a homeless veteran. And after that, we have a footprint to build 22 more homes for the homeless veterans here in San Antonio. So That's going to be a big win for the veterans. That's going to be a big win for S3D. And I think it's going to really push us into the future here in San Antonio.
That is so exciting. And aren't you guys launching or doing a ribbon cutting on Veterans Day this year?
Yes, yes. November 11th, we're going to do our ribbon cutting. That's when we're going to start breaking ground on our first home that we're going to donate to the city. Yes.
That's amazing. So it's almost like your niche really is combined with this win. It's veterans, it's connecting with people, but you're also doing some investment talk and development talk. It really is a great fit for all of who you are. And you're
Yes,
helping them find the land to purchase to build all of these homes on right now.
absolutely. And that's a big win for me.
That's a huge win. I mean, we're talking about $1 million purchase. That's a hefty commission.
Yes.
That's amazing. Let's let people get to know you just a little bit on a personal level. Finish this sentence for me. When I'm not selling houses or land, you'll find me.
You'll find me swimming in my backyard pool or doing some landscaping.
I love it. And your backyard is fabulous. It looks great.
It makes me happy.
Let's shift a little bit. You know, you are our skill bridge director for BK Real Estate. You know, your background in the military, you were in the skill bridge program. Why did you, and part of it's because I've asked you to do it, but why did you feel like this was something that you wanted to pour into? Because it's not something that is a directly monetary thing for you, but you stepped into this role to help us. Why?
I think the biggest reason it stems from the way that I mentored my soldiers when I was in the military. I took great pride in my mentorship programs. I love to watch other soldiers be elevated to the next level. In fact, I helped three of my previous soldiers go from the enlisted side to the officer side. And so I really like that. That compels me to be the best type of mentor that I can. So being integrated into the SkillBridge program and taking those veterans that are leaving the service and looking to real estate to be that next chapter in their life, I felt like I would be a great fit for that because I could mentor them. I could teach them some of my pitfalls that I went through. And it just kind of it's like continuity from the military into civilian life with my mentoring.
Yeah, and it's such a neat thing that the Department of Defense offers those folks leaving the military to transition out because in your first 6 months after leaving the military, it was a hard change, right? Going from
Yeah.
every single day knowing exactly what you were supposed to do every step of the day to now you're an
Oh, yeah.
entrepreneur.
Yeah, the first 6 months I was spinning my wheels. I kept telling myself, "Oh, you're retired. Take a break." And, trying to learn real estate at the same time, it was a tough transition.
Yeah, I hear you. And I think that it's so great that our SkillBridge people have someone like you that can guide them through the process. So let me ask you this. I met you a while back and immediately you and I connected on a real estate level and investing level, but also on a personal level. But I'm curious for our listeners, what drew you to BK Real Estate?
Britt, I would have to say that it was our first encounter when I was taking my real estate classes at Champions Real Estate School. When you came in, the message that you delivered that day, you were talking about generational wealth and your legacy. It really impacted me. And I thought, wow, she's got a great message. I really want to work with this lady in her brokerage.
Thank you for saying that. Honestly, the brokerage is more than just me. It's people like you too. I'm a big believer in attract who you are,
Uh-huh.
and that's how your clients find you, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're building a culture of agents that all think very similar in that way.
The culture. It's awesome.
Well, so what's one word that you would use to describe our culture?
One word would be passion. I think passion is the word that comes to my mind. I've never worked with another group of people that show as much passion for doing something that they love. Agents in this brokerage, they consistently show up and consistently pick you up and help you on your way to being successful. I think that's all driven by the passion that we share for this brokerage. And it starts with you and it's a top down. It just matriculates to everybody else. So we all share that same passion.
We're attracting each other. It's awesome. I love it. All right, let's talk a little bit more about real estate, about mindset. What's something that you do every day to keep you resilient when things are wobbly, whether it's a deal, your life? family? What's something that you do every day?
One thing that I try to be most consistent about every day is my morning mindset. And you talk about that all the time. Other people in the brokerage talk about it. And people that don't understand mindset, I think they're really missing a large part of life. I can tell the difference when I miss a morning mindset and when I don't. So I think being consistent with my morning mindset is really what helps me.
Yeah, yeah, me too. That's, in fact, you and I had an accountability group going for a little bit to keep
Yeah.
us on track with our morning rituals, and it's like the affirmations, the visualization, waking up with intention and purpose,
That's it.
right?
That's it. The intention and purpose, doing the morning mindsets, it gives you that purpose for the day. It sets the plans for the day and you can stay on track.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, when people aren't doing what they want to do in real estate, they're not hitting their goals. What's some of the biggest mistakes that you see newer agents repeating? And what would you advise them?
I think the biggest mistakes that I see the newer agents repeating is they fall into this trap of they have one deal and they get excited and they're content, but they don't continue to nurture their pipeline. And if you don't nurture the pipeline, then it's going to go a couple of months and you're going to not have any other transactions, and then you're going to panic, and then you're going to have to go back to the beginning and start all over again. So what I've learned over the last 6 months is every single person that you're in contact with, every person that you touch along the way is a potential lead. So you have to put them in your pipeline and continue to nurture that. It might pay off 5 years down the road, but you can't give up on it.
Yeah. And if you don't write it down or put some notes in there, then it'll slip by. So it's even back to what you do every morning with intention and purpose. The same thing is true with lead generation, right? I mean, it's got to be intentional, purposeful, and you can't do that if you're not tracking it. So good. And so your business is built with buyers and sellers and investors. And so when you're working with each of those, how do you adjust your approach? So let's say you're working with a first time home buyer on Monday, and Tuesday you're talking to your developers and looking for land. How do you just keep it all going?
Britt, I really don't make any adjustments to my approach because my approach is the same to every person that I come in contact with. It's me approaching you transparent, honest, loyal, committed. So I don't shift that from buyers to sellers to investors. They're going to get the same mat every single time.
That's awesome. Yeah. From the beginning where you break down the process to the constant communication, all the way to the follow up, I'm sure, after the deal is closed.
Yes, and like I said earlier, I treat them like family. So just like every time someone pops into my mind, I send them a text. It's the same thing with all of my clients. I'll text them just random messages throughout the week. Sometimes I wonder, do they think I'm weird? But that's just my follow through. I'm going to communicate with you.
And the thing is if they think you're weird, then they're not your people, right? Like
Or they
your
keep
people will
replying to
find
my
you.
text, so they must not think I'm that weird.
And it shows. So what's for our newer agents or seasoned agents even that have kind of fallen off track? What's a book or a podcast or someone that you follow that every new agent should plug into?
Well, absolutely. Ninja Selling is the book that they should be reading. I feel like that should be a requirement before they even get started on their first transaction.
Yeah.
They should have finished that book. I
I
believe in
love
that.
that. Me
Hmm.
too. And I love that Ninja Selling also touches on the mindset piece too. Because I think that's where so many people miss the mark is real estate is twofold. It's you got to get your mind right,
Yeah.
and then you have to create the actions and do the actions that are going to get you to the success, right? So good. If you could rewind to day one, Matt Hopkins just got his license. What's something that you wish you would have done sooner?
Mhm. I wish I would have learned how to manage my CRM better.
I
I
hear
am
you.
I am a year into it and I'm still not proficient with my CRM. For some reason, it scares me like I'm scared of heights, but I think that's something that I would have focused on from the very beginning. I honestly feel that if I would have been more intentional with my CRM, my pipeline would be 10 times more full than it is right now. I probably would have closed, 20 more deals, but not being intentional with my CRM, I feel like I kind of missed that a little bit.
And it's a daunting process because you're like, oh my God, there's so many people I need to add to it. One thing that I did when we made the transition to our new CRM that you're also using with BK is we just started with here's what we're working right now. And then as we got more, we would add them. And then as we remembered other things that needed to be added, we kept layering it in. But if you start with here's what's happening right now, then you can fill those gaps, right?
Yeah.
So what's next for you and your business throughout the rest of 2025 and going into 2026?
Well, you hit on it earlier with the 3D construction. So what's next for me on the investor side is one, we've already found the land. So now we just need to submit the offer and, start the build process. And so that's going to happen, and it's beginning in 2025. So that's next for me there. I'm also in parallel building the Hopkins home team. So right now I'm a team of 1.5 because my wife, she's going to join us, but we've got to get to a position where she can leave her other job. But I'm going to continue to build the Hopkins home team. I'm trying to actively recruit agents that are like-minded, that want to be successful and want to work in this brokerage. So that's going to be a huge goal of mine, is building out my team.
I love that. I love it. And I see you doing it. As you know, and maybe some others don't, I also have another podcast called Cut the BS, Build the Dream, where I talk about just things that have helped me build a better business, build a better me. How do you cut the BS in your life so that you can get closer to your dream?
I think I just continue to surround myself with other successful agents, other like-minded people, and I want to stop procrastinating or thinking that I'm an imposter. I know that I belong in real estate now. There was a time that I was really questioning myself. Am I supposed to be here? What am I doing here? But I truly feel like I belong in real estate now. And
I love that.
this journey didn't happen by accident. I know that I will build that generational wealth that you and I talked about from day one.
That's right. That's awesome. Well, guys, that is a wrap of today's episode of Contract to Keys. If you found value in the conversation, do me a favor, subscribe, drop a review, share this with an agent who needs to level up. And Matt, thank you so much for being on today.
Absolutely.
I just always enjoy talking to you, being around you, just like you want to surround yourself with like-minded, great people. I feel the same way about you, just so you know.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you, Brittney.
Absolutely. If someone wants to follow you, how can they reach out? What's your Instagram handle? Facebook?
It's at MJ Hopkins.
All right. Follow Matt, follow BK Real Estate, or check out bkrealestatetx.com and get plugged in. Until next time, keep pushing, keep closing. And remember, every key you hand off started with just a brave conversation, right? So get out there, write your next chapter, and let's make some money. Have a good one, guys.